second place in the division versus first place in the division in Baltimore, and it's just it's going to be a tough task, I think, especially for this defense. And I think that's where we got to start. We got to start with this defense, man. We got to start with this defense. I think it's going to be a tough task for this defense because this defense has not played well. They've played, and I said it last week, they played kind of opportunistic. They've kind of just, they've forced turnovers when they needed to, but in terms of being a consistent, cohesive defense, it ain't been there, man. It ain't been there for them this season. And that's kind of the situation that the Ravens are in right now. The offense is this team, a team that's built on defense, built on running the ball, is really having to lean on running the ball, but also having to lean on the fact of being this kind of offensive led team now, right? They can't lean on the defense as much as they have been able to in the past. In the past, it was, it's like we knew the defense was going to be good. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I think the defense will get better as the year goes along. But right now, at this point in time, especially over the last couple games, this defense has not been that good. And I mean, this whole season, this defense has not been great. So the offense is having to pick up the slack a little bit. And honestly, we are not used to the offense having to pick up the slack. Now, it's nice to see that the offense can, but I'm a little concerned going in, especially with the talent that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have. But also, when you put aside the talent that the Buccaneers have, Baker Mayfield knows the Ravens defense. I mean, we of course remember Baker Mayfield in Cleveland, and I remember watching Baker dot the Ravens up over and over and over and over again for the Cleveland Browns. So that's another concern too. I think something makes me feel like the Ravens have played him since he's been in Tampa Bay, but maybe I'm wrong. It just for some reason feels like that. But Baker is a tough test for the Ravens defense. Right now, I feel like this is a good game for the Ravens to show that this defense isn't as bad as we might think it is, but this is a talented offense. Like it's funny, the NFC South circles, I feel like, talk about how talented the Falcons are, but the Buccaneers are just as talented, especially offensively. You got Bucky Irvin at running back. You got of course you got Mike Evans, who's always there, always consistent. Chris Godwin and those guys. Like, I mean, so the talent is there, but I think this Ravens defense, this is a moment where they can step up. If that makes sense. I think this is a moment where the Ravens can step up and show that their defense may not be what it was last year, but their defense still has potential, right? Still, their defense still has potential, and that and shout out to Hendo for coming by. I appreciate you for coming by. He said their offense will be a problem, and I agree. I think this could be one of those shootout type of games, especially from what we've seen from this Ravens defense as of late. This could possibly be a shootout type of game, or it might have to be forced to be a shootout type of a game. And I mean, and that's the thing. Baker with a couple of guys was in Cleveland was a problem for this defense. So I can truly feel like Baker could be a problem for this defense now, especially the way that they're playing currently. I mean, this could be a shootout. And the other question is, can the Ravens offense continue to keep up? Like, can they keep? They're at a certain stride right now, and they just gonna have to keep that up. And I mean, that's a question for you all. That's a question that needs to be asked in the Raven circles, is like, can this offense keep up? Like, we going into trade talks, we going into trade discussions a little bit later in the show, and it's one of those situations where it's like, do the Ravens have enough? I'll let y'all hold on to that, and I'll let y'all chew on that for a little bit. But right now, I mean, I think this offense is clicking. I think, and I've talked about it before. I think this offense is borderline unstoppable when they're playing at the level that they're playing, just because of the level in which you have to defend. But I think at the same time, this, the key is you're gonna have to lean on this offense. You're gonna have to lean on this offense, and this offense is going to have to be really good and borderline perfect. The way that this defense is playing right now, this offense is going to have to not turn the ball over, not put their defense in bad situations, and that's going to be a big thing coming up with in this game, especially with a defense as talented as Tampa Bay. I know they've taken a step back statistically. I know they've taken a step back in terms of how good they're actually playing, but talent wise, they're there. They're just not really putting it together right now. So I think the Ravens offense is going to have to continue to show that they are consistent. They're gonna have to continue to show that they are the catalyst of this team. They are kind of the anchor to this team right now. Continue to lean on the run game with Derrick Henry. Like I said, the thing I love about Derrick Henry is he's shown that he don't have to necessarily be that guy the whole game, but he gonna get you one. He gonna get you one. Like he might not have 17 yards, but that 25, 30, 40, 50 yarder is coming. And I think that's like I said, it's a good thing to have future Hall of Famers on your team, because especially on offense, and this is something that I think is good too. The fact that the Ravens have those guys on offense right now is huge. I think that's a big thing. I think the fact that the Ravens have those guys on offense is huge right now. They have those guys who we know can take over a game if need be. And for once, it's not just Lamar having to be that guy. And I think coming into this game, I think I honestly expect it to be kind of a little bit of a shootout. I just think that the Ravens will overall prevail because, I think the Ravens, I don't know if I've seen the Ravens offense be this confident. I think that's another thing. Like the Ravens offense hasn't felt this confident in a while. Whereas like even if they get down in the game, they're not pressing. That was one of the things that we talked about for years about this offense. And of course, we hope that it lends its hand to later on in the postseason. But right now, in situations where they could press and they could be frustrated and they could get in their head, they don't, right? They got veteran leadership on that side. Of course, Lamar has had time to continue to mature as a leader. Derrick Henry, I think he probably brings some sort of calmness to this team. And I think this is probably some of the most success that he's seen in his career too. So in terms of wins is what I'm saying, in terms of records. So I think that's another part of it too. I think having veteran guys on this team, even some of the guys who kind of had to grow up on the spot, had to grow up in the on the field. I think that's big, and I think honestly, I think the Ravens could handle this game kind of like they do a business trip, right? And come in, blow the roof off the place, and be done. But considering how the defense is playing right now, that continues to be my concern. I can't say that the Ravens are going to win big when the defense can't get off the field. So that's one of my biggest problems right now with this Ravens team. Now, will they get better? History shows probably, right? History shows more than likely they'll be fine. But right now, it's on the offense, and I think the offense is playing at a very good level right now. I think the offense is playing at a level that honestly is you should be happy about it if you're a Ravens fan. I think it could, and I think I don't think they I don't think they have hit their peak, right? Which is another good thing. The fact that the Ravens haven't hit their peak offensively means there's still some room to grow. Whether that be you make a trade and that's your room to grow, or you continue to grow and continue to find where these pieces go, and that's your room to grow. I think the Ravens have room to grow, and I think they can beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week, and have a good week on prime time, and really continue to cement themselves as the top team in this league. And I mean, for the last couple of weeks they played like it, so they gotta keep it up. They gotta continue it. But